name is Suzan and I'm from Humboldt-University in Berlin, Germany, and there at the African Studies Department in African History. And my subject here, what I presented, was sports and the performance of masculinities in Senegal. And yeah, I mainly focused on two examples, very famous examples from Senegal. One is the Senegalese wrestler Mohamed Tyson, and the second is the Senegalese national soccer team, the Lions de la Teranga, Lions of Hospitality, which became very famous in the 2002 World Cup. And for me, what is important, maybe my main argument is not only to show how these sportsmen represent and perform masculine icons and how they construct them and how they were also, these icons were also constructed by the media and by the public discourse, but also how sportsmen as icons embody not only success and triumph, but also failure and defeat. And so I'm always trying to find out how they are created, but also how they're deconstructed afterwards. And often this depends on their sport achievements. So it's quite interesting, especially with sports, you are always depending on winning. If you don't win, you are not anymore an idol, or you cannot stay an icon or idol or something like that. And at that time, for me, the other question, what is quite interesting, I worked a bit with the gender concept of Judy Butler, her early gender concept, who says that gender is something like an illusion. And I found that with this example of the sportsmen, for the general young men in Senegal, this gender concept, or they represented masculinity, is like an illusion. They try to imitate these icons, but at the end they cannot really achieve the same successes. And they cannot achieve the same success, and often their imitation is reduced only to some little, maybe fashion statement, something like that. They make the same haircut like their sport idol or something like that. So it's an illusion for them, but on the other side, they are on the better side sometimes than the sportsmen, because if the sportsmen decline, they can choose another idol. So always they can participate with a new success, triumph idol, and they are not so depending on the sports achievement of a particular person. So I focus on this shift from the first in the end of the 1990s, it was Tyson who was really the big idol of young people, and he was playing with a special kind of symbols, especially American symbols. He wears, for instance, the robe of the Stars and Stripes of the United States to come in the arena dancing a special dance, Bufale dance, which symbolizes a new generation who don't want to think very much about what people are talking about, and they say we are cool, don't worry about anything. So we can gain our life with our own talents. And when Tyson declined, because first he showed up in an election campaign with a former president who was very unpopular with the young people, and in 2002 then he was defeated by another wrestler. Then young people shifted to new icons who were the soccer players, and with this shiftment also there was a shift in symbols, because the soccer players, they played more with national symbols, with a national flag from Senegal, and Tyson was quite closely related to rap music, and now the national team more to Mbalax music, which is a Senegal kind of music. So you can see these shifts also in the kind of symbolism which is inside. And finally, also the soccer Lions, they declined in 2004 in the African Cup of Nations. They were not as good and only reached the quarterfinals, and there were a lot of scandals, and even for the 2002 World Cup there was a financial scandal. And so when they declined, again young people found out a new icon, and when I was there in the beginning of 2005, they just had chosen a young songwriter, Ndongolo, who was very young and very modest and very religious. So again, quite another type of masculine idol. And so there was again a shift, and probably now they shifted again because this songwriter, he died 1 year ago, so unfortunately. And he died, even the funeral was like a funeral of a state man. There were hundreds and thousands of people coming.
And finally, could you just reflect on the conference theme?
So for me, the conference theme, the most important subject for me was the question of gender and representing gender, the question of... So I'm more focusing in my paper on masculinity and men, not so much on the role of women. Mm-hmm. But it's, for me, it's always interesting how gender plays a role in sports, and I hoped also to have more knowledge of other research on this question of gender in sports. And also, I thought it quite interesting how academics from different disciplines work on these subjects, and at the same time some of the people who are more in the administration, sport administration, and more active role in sports come together and have a discussion on all these subjects. So for me personally also, this whole question of development in sport is quite interesting, because my dissertation is more on youth clubs in Senegal who are really very active in development questions also.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, thanks.